I'd like to open this review to extend my thanks to the creator of this mod, Rindle Blackfire, for giving me an early access version of the mod. With that, let's get straight into the video. World of Vasnar is a mod brought to us by Rindle Blackfire, the same person who made the Struggle for the Iliac Bay mod. I came in with high expectations given how great that mod was, and I can confidently say that my expectations have been exceeded. Originally, this video is going to be a half review, half showing off the progression of my character. However, since the footage of that character corrupted, I decided I would just angle this into a review. With that out of the way, let's get started with the world for Vasnar is an incredibly built one. While I will admit I do not fully know the lore, what I did find through my gameplay had me enamored. From vampires, whose influence over humanity was on a steady decline, to the realms of men that fight against them and hosts of demonic powers and fell gods, I was hooked. This setting draws a lot of inspiration from Gothic literature, something I admittedly have never been too into myself, so I'm sure many of the references outside of Lovecraft went well over my head. Overall, I found myself as invested in learning about the setting through my gameplay as I was in the battles I was fighting, which is an amazing thing, because if a game is going to teach you its lore, you shouldn't be having to go outside of the game to read text document after text document. A good game, or a good mod in this case, will do show, not tell, and this mod does that perfectly, which leads me to the next thing I want to cover. There are a variety of major factions to join, as well as a plethora of minor ones with their own quest lines and goals. So far, I've experienced a lot of the various holy orders throughout the game, as well as the more morally questionable ones not fully supported by the church, like the Dusk Legion and the Extricators of Sin, whose quest will be added in the next major update. Dusk Legion, not as much, I'm just going to specify that now. As well as the vampires, Nellians, and Cult of the Drowned God. All of them have their own special and unique units and feel to them. The armor design is also phenomenal. My personal favorite troops, just based off of design, would be the Dusk Legion Paladins with their like golden conquistador armor, and the Moonlit Knights that just have this amazing like fantasy European romantic feeling to them, like, you know, as in the romantic art movement that was happening around the same time as the Gothic one. The Moonlit Knights also have by far my favorite quest that I found, which leads me to the next thing I want to praise about this mod. This mod, much like Rindle's other work, Struggle for the Iliac Bay, has a large variety of dynamic quests as well as quest lines for the player to choose to do. I played a lot of these, and none of them disappointed. Both early and late game questlines and dungeons had awards that felt challenging to get and were well worth the struggle, and the quests that aren't randomly generated ones, like the Contractors Guild's quest, are amazingly written as well. I won't spoil any of them, since like in my Morrowind video, I heavily encourage you guys to try the mod out yourself, but the Sunken City of Ethel was by far one of my favorite quests to do, not only because of the dungeon, but because the rewards you get from completing it. When the update for the Extricators of Sin and Stygia drops, I would also recommend giving them a run through, since it is a very well written quest line with varying outcomes depending on your choices. I will say you should definitely invest a couple points into persuasion for the best ending and leave it there. Now, on to combat. This mod makes some changes to Warband's combat system in some major ways. Starting with small stuff, it uses different animations, giving weapons a very different feeling than in the base game, making combat feel far more smooth. This mod also adds both firearms and magic to the game. I will admit, I have not touched firearms since I love magic a little too much, but both do feel incredibly balanced on the field, since I used plenty of Nellian arquebusiers. The magic in this mod is also very balanced, since to get overpowered spells, you have to dump a lot into intelligence and magic power to even use them, and a lot of higher end spells can only be cast on foot. These spells can range from summoning both angels and demon spawn to fight for you, or performing acts of necromancy or necroalchemy to raise new soldiers. depending on if it is a spell, like one of the ones that is a retextured throwing weapon, or an actual necromantic rite that you perform in your camp menu. The ones you perform in your camp menu just straight up give you soldiers that stay in your party. The ones that are spells that you cast like in battles only exist for that battle. There's also healing spells, holy magics like divine smites, vampiric drains that restore your health. There's a lot of variety, and personally, I love it. Vampires also have their own custom powers depending on the house. And, you know, the ones that I always played, Strumheifs, because I thought their lore was the coolest, they get custom magic powers that let them summon various undead, I think. I say I think because I don't quite know. It seems like they're drowned. Because their whole thing is that they worship this cult of a drowned god. You can also give yourself, like, a drowned horse. It's really cool. And that's, like, their special summons. I know one of them, different vampire houses, I can't remember their name, also gets to summon gargoyles. There's a lot. It's really cool. And before I end up rambling on, let's get down to wrapping up this review. I absolutely love this mod. From its setting down to the finer details of combat and how the player interacts with the world, Rindle shows once again that he is a phenomenal mod developer who puts out quality mods for Warband. If you guys are thinking of checking out this mod, I would heavily recommend it. If you do end up enjoying it as much as I have, I implore you to check out his other mod, Struggle for the Iliac Bay. And with that, I conclude this review giving this mod a solid 8 out of 10. It's a little rough around the edges, but I kind of just chalk that up to the fact that I have an early access mod file, and that Mountain Blade's engine is a little old and has its limitations. Overall, it is an amazing mod, and I cannot recommend it enough. If y'all enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.